Documentaries are supposed to be true, grounded by facts that in some way document or capture reality. When watching a documentary film, we generally assume, by the definition of the word, that it is objective. However, it is extremely difficult for most filmmakers to objectively capture reality on screen. Through the process of making the film and becoming more and more familiar with the characters involved in its story, it is natural to begin to draw conclusions and consequentially become biased by them. I think it's also extremely important to note that a hugely influential aspect of documentary filmmaking occurs in the editing process. Essentially, the filmmaker is trying to portray truth while still maintaining a level of entertainment which, if not done adroitly, will naturally begin to persuade or influence the viewer's perception and understanding of the content, thus creating a certain biased truth. It's here that Bill Nichols, contemporary documentary theoretician, provides a guideline of sorts that form a framework of examining the way a filmmaker has produced a documentary and its influences on the audience. Nichols determined that there are 6 subgenres within the genre of documentary itself, these being expository, poetic, observational, participatory, reflexive, and performative. These subgenres highlight the methods filmmakers use to convey and portray the truth through a range of qualities from how each mode treats the knowledge of the content to how time and space is used throughout. Today I'll be applying Nichols' guide to a short documentary, Bacon and God's Wrath by Sol Friedman, where the aforementioned modes have been utilized, and I will be analyzing how these coincide with the content and the filmmaker's style to create his own vision or form. Bacon and God's Wrath follows Razi, a 90-year young Jewish woman who reflects on certain life experiences that have affected her decision to, after almost a century of eating kosher, decided to abandon her faith and try bacon. The film begins with 3 subheadings, as well as the shots of Razi's home showing her impressive collection of antiques and art, underscored by an upbeat accordion. This is a typical yet extremely effective way of using the expository form mode to inform the viewer of who and what the film is about. After this initial beat, we're treated to an overhead shot of Razi lying on her sofa, stating that every once in a while it'd be nice to try a bacon and tomato sandwich. This shot is interesting, as it creates a sense that we as the audience are some form of therapist that she is revealing a secret to, and is now placing us in the participatory mode. This particular shot is quite stylistic, and it's used to convey the unsaid. In this case, where Razi is lying horizontally on the couch, it represents her changing views of the world, or her world, as religion has been such a large part of her life for so long. As the story begins to unfold, we have to consider the definition of the space and time quality mode, as we are then transported to a fly on the wall. This switch to the observational mode is further evidenced once Friedman begins asking questions, and allowing Razi's recount of her father and grandmother's involvement with religion. Friedman's voice's tone and small line of questioning is one of patience and modesty. It's a willingness to let the audience decide for itself not just what they see, but what conclusions they can draw based on their own experiences. Taking into account both the style and mode of these opening shots, we begin to get a picture of Friedman's form, and it's constantly upheld throughout the piece. An accordion is used throughout the entire film, starting off positive and upbeat before descending into a melancholy downbeat to inform the audience of the seriousness and momentous task that is, for Razi, eating bacon. Friedman's style becomes evident in the conscious choice to use the soundtrack effectively to influence the viewer, ensuring that they feel the way they are supposed to in certain critical moments. The sound and music switches modes throughout the film, from expository to poetic to observational, as they're all constantly linked to what is being shown on screen. The choice to animate the recount of Razi's grandmother's early life is extremely effective at ensuring the audience stays connected throughout this recount. However, it doesn't depict her words exactly. Instead, it is used to extrapolate from her story a more extreme version. From here, both the beginning and ending to the animation depicts things not explicitly stated by Razi, or even implicitly, and instead serves to highlight the ridiculousness of such small acts of defiance such as popping bubblegum, being punished with extreme prejudice. This is a perfect example of the reflexive documentary mode in terms of the way Friedman almost abuses Razi's story to get across his possibly biased opinion on religion. While the film may be about Razi's ultimately her disregarding her religion, I believe this animation took massive liberties, especially when Razi stated she didn't want to talk about it. Here we see evocation of the audience, rather than authenticity as we've come to expect from a documentary. Saul Friedman has created a film that can be analysed as multimodal across multiple qualities, while staying true to his own style and thus unique form throughout the film. Bacon and God's Wrath is absolutely a subjective piece intending to challenge. However, I believe he was trying to use Razi as a conduit to pose provocative questions about religion and the power to make one's own decisions, as Friedman himself, like Razi, does not know the truth. He can only ask questions. Thank you.